y'all. Good evening. I am showing you guys my Buffalo Exchange bag because I just got home from the store, and so I thought I would tell you guys more about my shopping routine and like what I normally do to get fresh fruits and vegetables, what the food I buy normally looks like compared to what I used to buy in the US. So let's get started. So I usually buy food every week and a half or so. Yeah, my site is lucky. We have stores that actually do carry food of different varieties, both processed and unprocessed. There's one store that sells fresh fruits and vegetables. Other stores sell a mixture of dry goods, like frozen goods, eggs, and like sometimes boxes of fruits. Like right now, persimmons are very in season. So we're lucky here in Armenia because there's not usually like a wait. You either have food or you don't have food in your site. And if you don't have food, then you go to your hub town to buy food and bring stuff back. But because my village is more of a tourist destination, it has access to a little bit more than some of the other rural villages do. So I'm very fortunate. So I do have, in my village, there are 4 hanutner, so 4 stores. Each one is different and sells similar items and items that other places don't have. So today I went to 2 different stores. Like I said, maybe there's one store that sells fresh fruits and vegetables. And being someone who is very much, I'm not a vegetarian, I'm an omnivore, but I eat mostly vegetables. I don't buy meat much at site because of a variety of reasons, which we can talk about in another video. But yeah, I went to one store to buy bread and flour. I usually go there to buy like dry goods, canned goods. And then the other store I went to today, I bought a bunch of fresh fruits and vegetables and eggs. So I will show you what I bought. In total, at both hanuts, I spent probably about 4,500-ish dram, which is a lot, but also it's winter, so things are limited in what's seasonal. So I bought some things that are not really seasonal, and I bought some things that might have been imported, which is why they're more expensive. So let's start. So the first thing, you might notice, looking at the spread, that there is no processed food, except for like butter, which is not the same as like the definition that most Americans think of. And that's because in Armenia, unless you're in the city, there's just not much access to processed food at all. So I eat much healthier than I did back in the States. I eat a lot of vegetables, like I said, which means I have to cook more, which has its like pluses and minuses. So yeah, I do buy a lot of vegetables. I love vegetables, so it's not hard to get me to eat them. Right now we have a lot of root vegetables like beets and carrots, and a lot of like green things like, that sounds really big, but like cabbage, cauliflower is in season right now. So that's what you'll find a lot of. People make a lot of soup, like borscht, which is like traditional food from the Soviet Union. People eat a lot of like, salads made of beets or carrots. In the summer, people like to eat a lot of loligvarung, which is like tomato and cucumber salad. But right now, you've noticed I have tomatoes. Tomatoes are out of season, so they're definitely more expensive. These are definitely grown in a greenhouse somewhere around Yerevan, I'm sure. And that's why they're kind of hard. Another thing that you'll notice is the Armenians call it kanachi, which just means greens. So a lot of herbs. I got the mixed bundle because I like to have different ones. I use them to make salsa with my tomatoes, or I sometimes use them in soups, stir fries. They're just really nice to add flavor. Also have some spicy peppers. So yeah, I love spicy food. Reminds me of home, so I got that. I have lemons, which are my splurge food. I want to make lemon bars, and maybe bring them to my English club for adults, because last time they made me cake. So yeah, lemons are usually imported, quite expensive. But treat yourself. So that's why I also got flour. I have bought flour before, like loose leaf, if you could call it that, from our Hatzatun, which is where they make lavash for the whole village. And it's usually quite cheap there. I think next time I'm going to go back and just buy that, because it was like 300 dram for a kilo, and this is like 800 dram for this bag. So I could probably get a better deal at the other place. But this is all-purpose flour. The other stuff might be more like bread flour, but it works. I get eggs because like I said, I don't eat meat at site much. So protein source, this is it. There's others. I eat flax seeds. I eat lentils. I eat a lot of beans, and that's good. Onions, onions are kind of a garnish here in Armenia. Like, people don't eat a lot of onions like we do back in the States. I know Americans love onions, Indian people love onions. Like, I can't cook anything without onions, so I go through a lot of them. And then the other one is I got some mandarins or mandarin, because I have had a runny nose for a month, and I'm just kind of continuously under the weather, so maybe some vitamin C will be good for me. And then the last thing is bread. This big loaf of bread is my preferred bread of choice. It's called kalach, at least in my village. That's what they call it. Other people have different names for it. I guess in Martuni they might say spitakat, but that just means white bread. Basically, there's two main types of bread in Armenia. It's this or lavash, which is also good for other things. I prefer kalach just because it reminds me a little bit more of American bread. Yeah, and then butter. So there's many ways you can buy butter. The most expensive is the nicely packaged in foil butter. That's 1,000 dram. This is 320 dram for this much. And basically what they do is they just have a huge block, and then they cut off pieces and sell them individually. So I did that because it's way cheaper, and I'll use it for my lemon bars later. But yeah, I mean, that's food for several days, if not a week for me. I buy a lot of dry goods. I have buckwheat in a jar. I have flour in a jar. I will add more flour. I have rice. I have lentils. I keep a lot of beans that people have given me. Yeah, I eat a lot of grains just for energy and because they're cheaper and they're available. I also just was gifted the other day a big bag of walnuts that I need to figure out how to crack open. But walnuts, that's a beautiful gift because walnuts grow naturally here, but also they are kind of expensive. Nuts are expensive pretty much anywhere in the world. Here is no exception. So I'm probably going to end up making some sort of walnut pastry later. Just something to look forward to. But yeah, I mean, this is a lot of food for me for one person. I can make at least 4 or 5 meals with all of this, if not more. So yeah, this is what I eat. And I hope that gives prospective volunteers a little bit of insight into what your life could be like for 27 months. People talk a lot about how, oh, there's no food in winter, Well, clearly there is food in winter. You just have to be a little creative. If you're a good cook, your life will be a lot easier. If people send you spices, your life will be a lot easier and more delicious. So yeah, for all those 828 invitees out there, good luck. Hopefully you see this video and gain something from it. And happy holidays, everyone.